Hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss the most important MCQ about Constituent Assembly. If you found this video helpful, do like, share and subscribe my channel. First question, who convened the Constituent Assembly of India? Correct answer is option B, Indian National Congress. When was the Constituent Assembly of India convened? Correct answer is option B, 1946. Who was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly of India? Correct answer is option A, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Who is known as the father of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option A, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. How many sessions did the Constituent Assembly have in total? Correct answer is option C, 11. Who among the following was not a member of the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option D, Mahatma Gandhi. The objective resolution which outlined the philosophy of the Indian Constitution was moved by. Correct answer is option B, Jawaharlal Nehru. Who was the first president of the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option C, Dr. Sasidananda Sinha. Which princely state was not represented in the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option C, Jammu and Kashmir. The Constitution of India was adopted on. Correct answer is option C, 26 November 1949. The Constitution of India came into effect on. Correct answer is option B, 26 January 1950. Who was the first woman to become the president of the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option A, Sarojini Naidu. Who was the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly of India? Correct answer is option A, B.N. Rao. How many committees were formed by the Constituent Assembly to draft the Constitution? Correct answer is option B, 8. The preamble of Indian Constitution was adopted on. Correct answer is option B, 26 November 1949. Who was the chairman of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option C, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with the directive principle of state policy? Correct answer is option B, part 4. The concept of fundamental duties was added to the Indian Constitution in which year? Correct answer is option B, 1976. Who is known as the architect of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option C, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Which schedule of the Indian Constitution contains provision regarding the administration and control of scheduled areas? Correct answer is option A, 5th schedule. The idea of a Constituent Assembly for India was first conceived by. Correct answer is option C, M.N. Roy. Who was the president of the Constituent Assembly when the Constitution was finally adopted? Correct answer is option A, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Which article of Indian Constitution deals with the composition of Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option B, Article 370. How many members were there in the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option A, 299. The Indian Independence Act 1947 provided for the establishment of. Correct answer is Option C, both A and B. Option C. Who was the first Vice President of the Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option A, H.C. Mukherjee. Which schedule of the Indian Constitution deals with the allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha? Correct answer is option D, 4th schedule. The term federal was replaced with union in the Constitution by which amendment? Correct answer is option A, 42nd Amendment. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with the Union and its territory? Correct answer is option B, Part 2. Who is known as the architect of the preamble of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option D, Benegil Narsingh Rao. The Constituent Assembly of India adopted the Constitution on. Correct answer is option A, 26 November 1949. Who was the Prime Minister of Britain when the Indian Independence Act was passed? Correct answer is option B, Clement Attlee. The objective resolution which laid down the fundamental principle of the Constitution was moved by. Correct answer is option A, Jawaharlal Nehru. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with citizenship? Correct answer is option B, Part 2. Who among the following was not a member of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option C, Jawaharlal Nehru. Which committee of the Constituent Assembly dealt with the fundamental rights? Correct answer is option C, Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal Areas. Who is known as the father of the directive principle of state policy in India? Correct answer is option A, Jawaharlal Nehru. The first meeting of the Indian Constituent Assembly was held in which year? Correct answer is option B, 1946. Which among the following is not a fundamental right under the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option B, right to property. Who was the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly for drafting the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option B, B.N. Rao. The Constituent Assembly was convened based on the proposal of which British official? Correct answer is option C, Sir John Simon. The Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi as the official languages of India in which year? Correct answer is option B, 1949. Who is known as the father of the Indian Parliament? Correct answer is option C, M. Ananthasayanam Ayagar. The Constitution of India borrowed the idea of directive principle of state policy from which country? Correct answer is option B, Ireland. Which amendment to the Indian Constitution added the fundamental duties? Correct answer is option D, 86th Amendment. Who was the first Law Minister of Independent India and a member of Constituent Assembly? Correct answer is option C, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Which committee of the Constituent Assembly recommended the abolition of the practice of untouchability? Correct answer is option B, Fundamental Rights Committee. The concept of judicial review in India is borrowed from which country? Correct answer is option A, USA. Who was the President of the United States when the Indian Independence Act was passed? Correct answer is option A, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Who among the following was not a member of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution? Correct answer is option B, Jawaharlal Nehru.